Hey there, folks. Welcome to episode 50 of the What the Futures podcast, the last episode of season 1, the Halloween episode. That's why I'm dressed as an octopus, thanks to my 4-year-old. And hey, we're going to reflect on season 1 just a little bit here in the episode. We got Chuck Penner with LeftField Commodities. We're going to talk about the canola market and some of the risks out there for prairie farmers. We're also going to talk about pulses, get everybody up to speed on lentils and yellow peas. And hey, why not talk about the conference in Drumheller? All right, folks, buckle up. Let's get after it. Episode number 50. Hey, folks, welcome to the What the Futures podcast, your quick guide to better farming decisions. All right, folks, welcome into the episode here, recorded in the UPL studio each and every week. Of course, What the Futures is your weekly dose of clarity in the complex world of crop marketing. I am your host, Mr. Octopus slash Ryan Denis. I've spent my career working with farmers across the Prairie provinces, trying to have a little fun at times as well, and giving guidance on crop marketing for the last, 14-ish years. So it's been a lot of fun, and excited that the podcast turns 1 year old. We've got Chuck Penner joining me once again here, as he does regularly. And, you know, we're going to get a little spicy on the canola market in this episode, okay? Because there's some stuff going on. There's lots of people with opinions, lots of different advice out there. And I'm going to stick my neck out here just a little bit as well on what I think might be happening in this canola market in the near future. We've got a couple things around the conference. Ticket prices have climbed now as of October 31st. And I've got a few little updates around that. Of course, positive moments. And I'm going to put in the my reflection here of season 1. All right. And then, of course, we got a little bit of homework for you when it comes to the eating your veggies section. So let's get into it now. Episode 50 with Chuck Penner. All right, folks, let's welcome back Chuck Penner with LeftField Commodities for episode number 50. Chuck, this is the last episode of season 1. It's been quite the journey this year, but it's the last one. So you're the
happy
guy,
anniversary.
Man. Yeah, thanks. Thank you so much. A lot of reflection in this episode for me. I spent some time listening to the first couple episodes from last November, and it's going to continue to get better. But yeah, the first ones were a little interesting quality-wise. So yeah, it was good.
Well, and how can it get better than, you're dressed up for Halloween. I've got my pumpkin shirt on, so we're all set.
Yeah, there you go. This was picked out at Dollarama the other day by my 4-year-old. And so I have to thank her for the great costume. And I get to wear this in public today, which we're recording. It's not quite Halloween yet, but I get to wear this out in public. And she asked if I would wear it on the drive into Irish class as well today. So, if you're in Short Park and you see this guy beside you, watch out. Oh, man. So I do feel like a Jamaican octopus or something with the dreads here. So I got to just move them out of the way.
It's those dreads. Yep.
Yeah. DJ Octopus maybe is kind of the look I'm going for. But anyway, so I've been asking everybody. So you're coming to the conference in Drumheller, which I really appreciate, Chuck, you making the journey from Winnipeg. I've been asking everybody, like, what's your walk-up song? Like when you come up to present, like what's going to get the crowd going for Chuck?
I'm terrible at that kind of thing, Ryan. I mean, just before we got on this call, I was listening to some Steve Miller Band, but I can't even name the songs that I was just listening to. So I'm afraid I'm pretty hopeless that way. I thought do I have to come up with one?
No, I will come up with one for you, but then you're at my mercy, right, of what I come up with. So,
that's fine.
It won't be AC/DC because everybody wants AC/DC so far. So, all right. So you're coming out to Drumheller. You're doing a little bit of a different spin on your presentation from what you normally do. Can you give us some Cole's notes on what you're going to talk about at the conference?
Well, I'll try. So normally, you get up there and you say, well, blah, blah, blah. This is what's going on in the canola market and, China, Japan, blah, Australia, whatever, or lentils, and you talk about India, so on and so on. This is going to be a little bit more of a how-to type of a thing.
Awesome.
And in some ways, it's based on some work that we've done. We've done a few things in the last little while, and I would call them thought experiments, where we've kind of wondered stuff, and then we have all this data sitting there. So then we test it and we see whether it actually makes sense. So I'll give you just a quick example. One is this idea, when you get into the summer and prices are going, just chugging down and things like that. And then the grain buyers start to say, geez, they're just going to keep going and they're not coming back. So we decided to test that, is that true or not? So we looked at prices, when they typically bottom out in the year, and how often and how strongly and whatever they come back from those. And so we run that across all of the different crops that we cover, all the grains, the oil seeds, the special crops, and that sort of thing. And there's some interesting results there, but I don't want to give away the answer right now.
No, don't keep the secret stuff for the conference.
Yeah. But so those kind of things. And so it's about using data to help improve decision making. And so, the title that I'm using is called "What Are the Odds?" And so, for example, for that particular thought experiment, it's like, what are the odds that prices come off the lows, or come off? Once they hit that normal seasonal low, what are the odds that they actually are going to turn higher again? And again, it varies by crop, and sometimes, well, don't want to give away too much, but yeah, so it's a little bit about some of the stuff that the data reveals about how markets move. They don't always move that way, but what's their tendency? How often? Some of those kind of things. So we'll look at how data can be used to provide a little more sanity or a little more rational thought in terms of where markets might be going.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. I really got to get busy. I've got all of the thoughts rattling around in my head, but it's a matter of getting them onto some slides and some whatever.
I got a few presentations I have to build as well, and I'm a classic procrastinator, but I'm trying not to be for these ones. So,
the positive thing is you work best under pressure.
That's right. Yes.
So that's a good thing.
On the 11th hour. Yes, for sure. Well, that's great, Chuck. When I looked around at the conferences this winter, not to make little or pick on any of the other conferences going on, but I just noticed a lack of education type content, or a lack of skills, enhancing our skills, and that's why I've asked everybody coming to Drumheller to focus on that, because at the end of the day, when you do a market outlook, I love them. I appreciate them all the time. But that information expires. Sometimes it expires even before we get a chance to present it. So, so this is going to be really good. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to doing things a little bit differently, because, my goal in this, or point in this, is that, like, as you said, like, the market conditions will change the next day or the next week or whatever.
Yeah.
But if there are some principles that you can use that you can use for, over the years, rather than just, in the next week, here's what I'm going to do. That's a good thing. So with you on that.
That's how it's been built out. So that it's going to be awesome. So cool stuff there, Chuck. Do you have anything else you're looking forward to in Drumheller? Have you looked at the town at all? Are you going to set some time aside to see some dinosaurs? What do you got on the schedule?
Well, it's been a few years since I've been through there. But yeah, I don't know. The problem with our type of work is that you just have to keep writing reports all the time. So it's kind of it's a real drag that way. Like, the things are, anyway, whatever. Not going to whine about it. So I will have a certain amount of time there, but won't be able to, like, just put up my feet and sit back and relax either.
Just when you're on stage. That's all right. I got you covered. Everybody attending is getting a ticket to go and climb the world's tallest dinosaur and take a picture or a selfie. So and it's 30 seconds from where the conference is. So you might get there. You might get to see a real tall dinosaur yet, Chuck. So,
all right.
Okay, man. So let's, when you're on the show, we talk all things marketing. This is the Halloween edition and also a little bit of reflection on the year. But I'm going to get this one out later on Halloween. But I've been getting the ghosts, the canola ghosts have been coming across here. And it's not that I want to pick on the buyers like I did last week, but I got a G3 notification about, hey, next week the tariffs are coming on. I got the Viterra. Hey, the boat sales October 31st is fine. November 1st it isn't. I even have Cargill coming in saying, hey, the U.S. is not going to be accepting Canadian canola oil anymore. And I'm like, what?
I haven't heard that one.
Yeah. So anyways, all these different things with this negativity out there. And for me, let's park the Cargill one, because I told the farmer, I'm like, I'm going to have to do some Googling to figure some of that out. It wasn't top of mind for me, but let's just talk about China specifically. I think the easy thing is to say, hey, at some point they're going to announce something and it's going to be negative, right? But have you had any insight on when that could be? Have you seen any change in tensions between China and Canada? Is there anything that we can warn the farmers on the Halloween edition about the canola market?
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about how quickly market conditions can change, and so hopefully by the time this goes to air, things won't have made me look stupid in the meantime.
It's happened to me already, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. So I think you're right. It is a given that it will happen at some point. It's just a matter of when that is. And truth be told, I think there is more. There are more of these reports, these rumors, these kind of things that are filtering out. So I think just based on frequency, it seems to be leading in that direction, that it could be sooner rather than later. I think there's smoke, there's fire. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, one of those kind of things. Yeah. Yeah. Rolling Stone. I don't know. Or whatever. But yeah, it's, I think, for example, the Canola Council, is always talking back and forth with the Canadian government and trade people there and stuff like that. And so that can filter out to the members of the Canola Council, and, or maybe the merchants are talking to their counterparts in China and they're getting some stories that way. So who knows how it's coming out, but it seems to be coming out more and more. And somebody told me that there is, based on the trade rules, if they're, whatever they're worth. But the trade rules is that November 6th or 7th or whatever is the soonest that China could announce something. So, who knows? Maybe that's what they're talking about. Maybe they're just speculating based on that, that next week sometime, that's when that could change. So, it's quite possible. And I mean, we're almost certain that it will happen. It's just the timing.
Yeah.
Right? And whether, and even then, once they announce that, do they have a certain, whatever to get the boats loaded? Is it, those types of things? And, if they're,
is there a grace period
if sales have been made, already, like, a few weeks ago or a couple months ago for delivery in, November, December, whatever the time frame, are those still okay? Are those still, we don't know, right? So there's all kinds of uncertainty about it, but the most certain thing is that it probably will happen at some point. When the Canadian government a couple of weeks ago talked about that they were kind of softening the tariffs on EVs or I guess aluminum and steel, those kind of things, and allow some exceptions. There was some hope that might ease things, but I'm not sure. The bigger one in my mind, and well, just to finish that thought, and I think if there is a tariff put in place, it's not going to get dropped quickly. So the question is, how long does that last, and so on. The point you raised about canola oil to the U.S., that one to me would be a way bigger deal, actually.
The grower I spoke to, I said if that were the case, and I'm sure I'm taking this out of context a little bit, but if that were the case, like I would consider not growing canola. You would have to, if that would be a complete game changer in that market moving forward. So I think what's maybe coming out of that, if I'm trying to read through this, is that there's the talk about, the used cooking oil coming into the US and trying to see which government will be elected and then in the US and then who will, stop that from coming in. But that would be bullish soybean oil, I would think. So I don't know.
Yeah, that would really cause a lot of disruption because the canola oil that gets produced in Canada, the crusher's output, what's the number now? About 3/4 of it gets exported. Of that oil gets exported, and almost all of it to the U.S. these days.
Yeah. So it looks like the lion's shares to the U.S. So,
yeah. I mean, it is true. I mean, the Donald Trump has talked about across the board tariffs, 10% tariffs, from, who knows, on all products from any country. So, so that is I guess that's what they're talking about.
Yeah. That could be
I don't know if 10% tariff would be pretty damaging. So if that's the case, that's a real risk as well too. But on the positive side, let's have some positive.
I was going to say, let's go see if there's anything positive here. Yeah.
Sure. Well, in the last few years, even before the 21 drought, Canadian canola prices were going like this. And to a large degree, Canadian canola was at a premium to a lot of other locations, like particularly Australia as a key export competitor. But Canadian canola now has dropped off, and Australian canola stayed largely steady. So right now we're right in the same ballpark in terms of prices. So what that means is, from a competitive perspective, for places like Japan and Mexico, which used to be large buyers of Canadian canola, they would both take about 1.5 million tons, give or take, or they would each take that much. Last year, it dropped off considerably because they were shifting to Australian canola. Yeah. And so now that we're competitive again, we're probably in a position to regain some of that market share. And we're also going to be exporting more to Europe this year. And we could probably export a bunch to UAE now, and they would crush it. And, that could be another 1 million tons, crush that, sell the oil to China. Those types of things. So there are other outlets. But there is risk in the market.
All right, so our next segment here. So what's cool in crop marketing this week? As we chatted with Chuck Penner here, we talked about, pulse markets being a little bit quiet right now. Maybe prices pulling back in a few of those. Red lentils, some of the green lentils now have pulled back, and yellow peas are quiet as well. I'd call the wheat market, even though basis levels continue to improve, I'd call it, futures obviously pulled back. You guys all saw that. So it's been a little challenging to line up futures and basis. You almost have to catch a futures rally of 30, 40 cents, lock that in, and then wait on basis. And I did talk to a few growers here the last couple of weeks. They did implement that strategy earlier this year, and some guys were talking about the north of $9 wheat that they had locked in, which is fantastic. But the wheat market's been a bit tricky. Now, the one thing that stands out, another thing that stands out for me this week is that the wheat price in parts of Saskatchewan and parts of Alberta actually very, very close to each other, which is not normally the case. So I don't know if it's the Saskatchewan buyer being a little underbought, that's paying a bigger premium, or if it's the Alberta side where they are paying a little less premium because maybe they have some coverage on or less demand. I'm not sure, but I'm used to seeing, 50, 60 cent spread, and some examples it was 10 cents and some examples were the same. So something's a little bit fishy there in the wheat market. Now, from a wheat futures perspective, I know the U.S. winter wheat crop is pretty terrible from a good to excellent perspective here. The crop rating is not very good at all. And not saying it'll be the worst crop rating of the year, but there are rains and have been rains for that winter wheat area of the U.S. And so maybe the crop ratings wouldn't surprise me if they're going to get a little bit better here. Again, we'll see. It doesn't really matter till next spring with what all happens. It's been very dry in the U.S. during harvest, a very quick harvest pace, and less moisture in that crop as well. So wheat, I've got something for you in eating your veggies there. But on the wheat side, again, futures pulling back, basis improving, trying to figure out that way to market that crop. What else is cool in crop marketing? I would say there's been a lot of chatter here about some of these bonus type contracts, and I did put it in the email the other day to you guys, to the listeners. But I know a few of you reached out, one in particular, and said, "What's the trick here? Like, I don't understand why I'm getting this premium. Like, what am I missing?" And at the end of the day, to me, there's nothing shady going on here. There's nothing spooky going on, for the Halloween episode. It's using a market. So in the example, I believe it's called a premium offer. The canola market was $14. The premium offer was a $700 strike for next fall, which worked out to about $15 as well. So kind of 15 for both years. And the way they're doing that is they're selling that call and taking that premium and paying you for it now. So moving you from 14 to 15, all right, give or take. And then with that, you have that commitment, that offer that may or may not strike, may not hit for next fall. And so if you want to find, like, where's the rub here, where is the problem, is that it may never strike at the 700. It just may never get there, and you kind of wish it would have in that scenario. Or, at times it can blow above that, and you sit there and say, darn it, I sold this at 700 when the market's now 800 or whatever. But I love it. I love the strategy. I really love it in when you have a trading account. This is not a recommendation by me to go and do that in a trading account. But if you are working with Cargill or Viterra or Bunge, you can say, hey, what's going on here? How do I extract this premium? And why would I do it or why not? And to me, for our farm, you get the premium now, and I am super comfortable with the offer out there at 650, 675, or 700. I can, we can talk about how to navigate and manage around that in the future. Like, how do we protect ourselves if the market's going to 800? What can we do? Because there are strategies you can look at there. But I still remain bearish the canola market into next fall. And my bearish stance is changing a little bit, but still lower, generally speaking. I just think it's a thing that you can look at and consider. All right. Especially with those grain buyers, reach out to them and say, hey, let's throw mud at the wall here. Like, what's the good and the bad here? And please explain it to me. And of course, you can email me as well, and I can see if I can help you out. What else do I have here for what's cool in crop marketing? I think I'm going to leave it at that. Chuck had a lot this week, so let's leave it at that. He's got what's cool in crop marketing as well. A little spicy there. And now a quick word from our show sponsor, John Deere. Did you know that you have a precious commodity on your land? I'm not talking about crops. I'm talking about your data. Every day, your fields and machines are giving you valuable data. And what you do with it can affect costs and yield potential. Thankfully, there's John Deere Operations Center. It's an online farm management platform where you can connect your equipment, your fields, and your operators. It's a single place to stream all your data. A place where you can monitor equipment, track work in the field, even analyze your results. Check it out at johndeere.ca. All right, folks, do me a quick favor here when you get a chance. Go and hit that subscribe button. All right, wherever you get your What the Future's fix. If you're on YouTube, you're seeing me in this green octopus costume thing, and not the fanciest thing. It's just a hat that my daughter picked out. But go hit the subscribe button on YouTube. You can go to the website, ryandenis.ca, get our latest updates. I'm emailing weekly at a minimum, and stay up to date with what we have going on here at the What the Future's podcast. All right. Housekeeping this week. We have some tickets to give away for November 8th to the professional bull riding event here in Edmonton. When I originally bought these tickets, I thought we would host like a 1-year anniversary party for the podcast. So it's kind of that. But it's going to be a heck of an event. It's going to be a lot of fun, and looking forward to hanging out with John, Scott, and Tom. Have all won tickets to the PBR event. They've all been notified as well. And so thanks to everyone that participated. Of course, all you have to do is text in bull to 1-855-606-1889. That is the What the Future's text line. And you can text me anything on there if you want to, if you have a grain marketing question, we can talk about it there. If you have some comments about the show, hey, send them in. That's how you can get a hold of me. All right. What else do we have for housekeeping? Well, the conference, I'm recording this on Wednesday, October 30th. It is not sold out as of recording, but it is approaching that. Ticket prices have climbed now to $999. So we are selling tickets here until November 15th. So just a couple of weeks left. If you want to attend the conference, we will close those sales off here on November 15th. So a little price increase there to $999. And again, head over to ryandenis.ca. You can apply. There's a lot of applications floating out there. So I am assuming that people are going to hit that button to buy. And we'll see here. Approaching that sold out level for sure. Other than that, for housekeeping this week, the Lunchbox crew closes November 1st. We had a nice little run here this week of farms joining the Lunchbox crew to gain some crop marketing advice. Got the latest canola and yellow pea recommendations there as well. And as one farmer said, just looking for a little bit more guidance here in some of these markets. And I've been talking a lot of strategy here as well the last little while. What else? I think that's about it for housekeeping. Yeah, let's wrap it up with that. How about in regards to Canadian production? Have you, we're just over a month away from a StatsCan production update, but have you taken a look at production totals and come up with any different numbers on that side?
Oh, we got lots of different numbers. But
throw darts and pick one. Yeah. Yeah,
it's, like the last StatsCan number was 18.9 million tons. And most people think, well, that's probably on the high side. And there are some really, really low ones. There's ones in the 16s. Yeah. I don't think I can quite go there either. We're in the low to mid 18s would be our guess.
Yeah.
Typically, like, because StatsCan will put out their next one in December, but that's based on a farmer survey. It's a completely different method for calculation than the ones they did in August and September. So it's completely different. I would not at all be surprised to see that number drop from, like, their estimate is going to drop like this.
I think so too.
And I don't want to say that farmers are sandbagging, but they're sandbagging. They always do, because out of the last 10 years, every year, StatsCan has had to go back and add more supplies in, add more production in after that survey.
Yeah.
So, so they'll probably drop in December, and then sometime 6 months or a year from now, they'll raise it back up again. So that would be but whether it's going to actually change prices, I think there's all this other stuff going on, that the size of the Canadian crop is actually, one of the least important variables in the market.
Well, I think if I have to, I'm pretty open on the podcast. So, like, when I look at marketing canola right now, I feel like we're getting the best of everything right now. We have the best export numbers. We have the crush is just doing its thing, cruising along. We don't have any tariffs. We have these rumors of the slower crop. Like, this is all baked into the market right now. And I sit here and think, well, geez, why would I risk more here if the canola market's 14-ish, maybe a bit under, a bit over, depending on where you farm? Why wouldn't I continue to move this physical stuff out? And if I want to be bullish, if StatsCan surprises the heck out of us, I can do that on paper all day long. And so I've given up some basis, I think, potentially we'll see next spring and summer, by locking some basis in, getting some puts on, continuing to sell. And my consulting clients, we've been uber aggressive. We've fit on paper, we can do our thing after, but the physical stuff, there won't be a drop on farm here in the next month or so. It's going to be gone. So, not saying that's the right thing. It's not the right thing for every farm, and I don't want to, go and say that. It's just when the downside risks, when those headlines come out, or those updates come out, it's going to be a bad day and a bad week.
Yeah, it's whether that's going to last for a while. Like, if that reaction is just like when they first announced that they were investigating Canadian canola, you saw the price go, and it worked its way back higher.
Yep.
Is this going to be the same thing? I don't know. But I would agree with you, though. I would say that if anybody really doesn't have much sold, I don't think you want to be going into, I think you'd want to be looking at some of these bids that are, these companies are so generously providing at this point, and actually take some advantage of those to get caught up, to not be completely hanging out there in the wind.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So that's great. I think we talked about a lot of canola stuff there. The pulse markets seem quiet to me. Are they? Or what's going on with pulses?
Yeah. When it comes to some of there's a little bit of wait and see going on in the pulse markets, and maybe that's one of the best ways to describe it. When I think about lentils, for example, green lentils. Well, let's just put these aside first. Green lentils, green peas, those prices are still, very firm. I saw some green lentil bids this last week. A number of companies, dropped their green lentil bids by a couple of cents. And I think that's just because, they've been buying like crazy, and the pace has been so crazy. And now those overseas buyers are going, okay, we're full for now.
Okay.
And so it's just a bit of a breather. I don't know that we're going to see a huge rally. So I think at some point, both green peas, green lentils, they do kind of just level off, instead of doing, just rallying like that. Right.
Yep.
So that's that's fine. I don't think there's much downside in those though. But when you look at red lentils, for example, the market got up to 35 and, or whatever, either side of 35 cents, right? And it's kind of just sat there, and even come off that a little bit. Those 35s, I think, are a little harder to find again. So it's, what we're waiting for there, the wait and see part, is how bad is the Australian crop because of frost and drought? How much did they lose? And then a little bit beyond that, how are Indian farmers going to plant their lentil crop, which will be in a few weeks. They're going to be, they'll be starting any day now, actually, with planting their red lentil crop with pretty good moisture conditions. So how does that play out in the next little while? So that's going to be that's the wait and see part. And I think in the short term, that market is going to kind of just keep going sideways as well too. I don't think there's a huge rally there, but that's how I'm reading it. Unless there's a big weather problem in India that shows up at some point in their growing season. For yellow peas, though, that would be the other one, I guess, the other big one. There is a bit of, just like canola, there's a bit of risk in that market as well too, and that's that India will put these tariffs back on again after December 31st. That's when they have zero tariffs now, and so that's a risk. Now we've been moving a whole lot of yellow peas this fall. I'm trying to remember. The fastest pace since 2021. And so we've been moving a whole lot of yellow peas. But again, we saw those yellow pea bids, moving higher, but they've already kind of gone sideways. And so I think, that fall surge of exports, which we always get, to some extent, that's kind of already passed now. And now we're sitting back into a quieter time of year. And if India does put tariffs back on, then China's really the only other buyer. And that's going to be steady, but not fantastic kind of business, especially with having to compete with Russia.
So, from a Australian harvest side, have they started harvesting their lentils, or is it around the corner?
They might have started a few fields, but no, I think most of it is a few weeks away yet. Probably late November. I'm, somebody who knows more about that. They've been exporting, or they've been harvesting their chickpeas down the East Coast. So they start from north, work their way south, right? So they've started those, and that's just caused chickpea prices there to absolutely crater. But the areas where they grow their chickpeas, their Desi chickpeas, which a lot of those are going to be heading to India too. Another great and not great thing for the yellow pea market. Those prices have really dropped off as well too, but they're grown in a different area. So the lentils are Victoria, South Australia, and those are the areas where there was frost and there was drought. Okay.
All right. So, I think a word of caution for listeners on some of the pulses here. And I know I've been trying to move the needle on yellow pea sales myself just to get a bit more coverage there and a little less exposure, but we'll see. All right, Chuck, anything else crop related that comes to mind here? I know I got oats are just slowly grinding up in Alberta, but it's not fast.
The oat thing is one that puzzles me. We've had the benefit of some exports to offshore, like out of Vancouver to Mexico and South America and things like that. So that's kind of benefited. But last year, our business to the U.S., which normally buys like 90% of our oats, just was awful. And so this year so far, it's been kind of, mediocre too. So that's one thing I haven't been able to figure out, is whether there's just an overall shift in the U.S. to use more of their own oats, whether they're keeping, milling more of their own oats, with less demand for Canada, which, maybe we don't need to grow as big oat crops, anymore, if that's the case. But I haven't been able to get a straight answer out of anybody yet on that. So if anybody's listening, yeah.
Reach out to Chuck. There we go.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, like we do every month or every 6 weeks, really appreciate you coming on the show and participating and giving listeners all the great insights, and hope you join us here for season 2 as well.
Okay. Sounds great, Ryan.
Okay, man. We'll see you in Drumheller.
Good.
All right. Positive moments of the week here. I'm going to, I'm actually going to talk about the 1 year reflection here of the podcast as well. Right after my positive moments, you'll see it'll spin into together. Well, number 1, Halloween with the kids, right? Halloween this week. This episode came out on Halloween. We've had just a blast. We've been dressing up. We had to dress up for our community dance here the other day on the weekend. Willa will be in her costume 4 times. 4 different costumes, I guess. It's been Halloween every day here in our household, and just seeing the kids when they go, especially, Will is right into it as a 4-year-old, but Finn, he's been practicing with his little bucket. He's been practicing saying trick or treat. And he's a smart little bugger because he doesn't even say trick anymore. He just goes up, puts the pail out and says treat. And that's it. He's not going to mess around at all with the trick part. He's just saying, hey, I'm here. I'm in my adorable costume. Give me my treat, and I'm going to move on. He's got it figured out. Smart kid. But Halloween with the kids, obviously, just a blast. Other positive moment for this week is it's my wife and I. It's our wedding anniversary. 14 years of marriage on October 30th. 19 years together. And, we've, like many people out there, we've been through a lot, throughout our relationship. We've been through the highs and lows together, and just to pause and have a nice bottle of wine, and we got some charcuterie as well. And I did not record the podcast on Wednesday night, which is when I normally do because it was our anniversary. So it was nice to just reminisce a little bit about the day and just appreciate what we have built together as well. So look at that, getting soft on you for episode 50 here. All right. And the last one, the podcast, What the Futures podcast, turns a year old on November 3rd. All right. So when is November 3rd? It's probably Sunday or something like that. So 1 year old. And, I just wrote down a few cues for myself here. So I wrote down, what stands out from the last year. And I listened to the first episode again the other night. And, in there, I said that I was starting this pod for farmers in Western Canada to provide transparency and community around crop marketing and farm business. I had no idea when I recorded that I'd be putting a conference together, which is bringing in community and doing all this stuff. I sat down with I don't know. I think I had a scotch actually the first episode when I recorded that first 20 minutes, and I knew that I wanted to bring transparency to crop marketing. I wanted to talk about what was going on in Western Canada for farmers, and keep episodes positive as well. The episodes come out on Positive Friday more often than not. I've been sending some of them out Thursday night here, but they're meant for Positive Friday. Positivity around farm business, positivity around crop marketing, and to try to help farms out as well. And so it's been a really, really fun year. I was listening to the quality of the first few episodes from a sound perspective. And I know that one day I'll listen to this episode and say the same thing. I can't believe how much better my sound quality is, or the lighting, or whatever. But those first couple episodes were pretty rough. So if you did listen to those ones and hung in here, thank you for that. And I want to thank the listeners for helping grow this thing the last year. I want to thank Chuck, who's joining me in this episode. for being a regular guest. Brett with BAMWX, which we haven't had on for a while, but, regular contributor as well. David with Marketplace Commodities. Ryan Copperthorne with Cows and Control. That was like the original group of guests that were confirmed here to hang out with me every couple months. Kyle with Producer Profit made a couple of stops as well this summer, and a lot of people reached out and appreciated his context. Trent Clarenbach with Clarenbach Research has been on a few times now, and James Mitchell providing us some fertilizer insight with Crop Management Network. And all the other guests as well. We had a bunch of people join the show over the last year. And, even when I did the 12 Days of Christmas, I think I had like 9 different guests on in the span of those 12 days. And so I appreciate everyone, taking the leap in time and jumping on and providing insight here for farmers in Western Canada. Our guest from the furthest away was Mike Lee from the UK, and I hope to get him on again here soon. But to everyone that was on the show, I again thank you for joining and contributing, and I really certainly do appreciate it. I also want to thank Stephen and Jeff, who they were the folks that helped me get this off the ground at the very beginning. Editing the first episodes, doing the marketing, and just starting this. You got to start somewhere, and Stephen and Jeff put their hand up and certainly helped me with all the early stuff. And then from there, just a hats off to Veronica, Stephen, another Stephen, and Augustine for Pod Sound School. They took over the editing reins on May 1st, and just up-leveled the show, one more time. I love the intro music we had at the start, but they came and took the show and certainly provided lots of good guidance for sound and visual and all sorts of things in the background. So it's been great. Fox and Forth for the social media stuff. They've been a great partner as well here the last 8 months. And then Yvonne, who joined in the spring as well, helping me with marketing, branding, everything conference related, everything Lunchbox crew related. It's been great. And then, of course, again, all the farmers, the engagement and the interactions. When I think about what stands out from the last year, the amount of farmers that reach out now with questions, comments. A day doesn't really go by anymore where I don't get something, some type of message. It's many per week now. And so I just totally appreciate it. And it's awesome to see that. Providing crop marketing advice, through a podcast to people that you don't really know week to week, it's challenging. I don't want it to be regurgitated storylines that you already have read. And I also realize that the podcast is going to come out once a week. And so I need to be cautious and careful about what to put out as well. Things change, and they can change quickly. And also, I said this the last week, but I don't have the right to give farms, that specific advice. At the end of the day, your crop marketing plan is your own. And I hope that some of the stuff that has come across through the podcast has given you maybe a bit more confidence in a decision, or maybe you looked at alternative strategies that helped. Maybe you had some wins on the crop marketing side because of something you heard on the podcast. That's all great. At the end of the day, it's about trying to make a positive impact and just trying not to get too far ahead of my skis or trying to make sure that what I'm putting out there is quality and useful as well. So what else do I have here? Yeah. And the comments that come in, a lot of positive comments have come in from farmers about, I know people say, it's too long, the podcast is too long, or, this and that, or whatever. There's always little things that pop up. But, when I hear from a farmer that something they listen to, help them make that decision and end up being a really good decision, like that's just a huge, huge win. That's why the show was created. All right. My best spot to record an episode 41, was literally recorded right beside the campfire, with my daughter sitting right beside me, wondering what the heck I was doing. So I took all, some of my, well, not all, but some of the equipment on the road there and recorded an episode basically on my phone, by the campfire. And, that was probably the most unique spot. I was on the deck at my in-laws. I recorded in Brandon in the John Deere booth. That one was pretty fun as well, because the John Deere guys there, I said, hey, it was like 7 a.m. I'm like, hey, I'd like to record before the show gets busy, the farm show gets busy. And they're like, who are you? And I'm like, I have a podcast. You guys are a sponsor, and they're like, oh yeah, have at it, good luck. And away we went. Best advice that I gave on the show. Well, just being bearish in a bearish market didn't hurt me, right? Bearish market trend, thinking prices would work lower, didn't hurt me at all. But marketing wheat in June, if you go back to the June episodes, I believe that, that turned out really well for those following along. And then not selling canola here this fall when that panic hit. I have sold canola since in the rallies, but not in the decline, which apparently some folks didn't dodge that. So anyway, and worst advice, you probably have a better idea than I do. You're probably shaking your fist saying, remember when he said this and it was wrong. I'm sure there's a few of those. I would say Oats maybe was a little bit too, didn't act with enough urgency at times on Oats. That one kind of stands out for me. And maybe a little bit too aggressive on yellow peas, selling yellow peas at harvest time. That might be the other one that falls on me a bit more here. But hey, if you have a worse piece of advice, you know what? It's probably, honestly, now that I think about it a bit more, fertilizer prices have not dropped. And, I did talk a pretty big game about fertilizer prices declining here, and that has not turned out. So that's probably the biggest one, actually, if I think about it. So anyway, you can let me know what it is. All right, that's my reflection here for season 1. Season 2, just we continue rolling on. I'm not even going to call it season 2. It's just going to be episode 51, and we keep going. And we have some new guests coming on this next year. The studio behind me, it's going to take me some time, but there's some new things coming in for the studio, new lights coming in as well, new camera. So just continuing to make some enhancements there. And UPL continues to be a partner here for the next season. John Deere as well. And we're still working some details out with a few folks. So anyways, if you have any moments from the last year you want to highlight, just send them over to Ryan at whatthefuturespodcast.ca. That's the email, and I'd love to hear them. All right, folks, let's get to eating your veggies this week. Brought to you by the Lunchbox crew. Intake closes November 1st. If you're listening to this after the 1st, I apologize. You'll have to wait till the next one. Later this winter. All right, a couple things for me. I like wheat targets. I've talked about this a few times in the past. I still like having a wheat target out there. I know that the fancy way to do this is to target futures off like March, wait for basis to continue to improve, and that, will get you your best possible price. Like I get that. But if you don't want to stress yourself out over that, then I still like putting those wheat targets out. So if you're being shown an 8, throw an 830 or an 840 out there. If you're being shown an 830 or an 840, try an 870 or an 875. Give those merchants something to aim for, because they have room in their basis to do this. The Canadian dollar is certainly helping the way it's been going. But they have some room here. Demand's phenomenal, and see what that looks like. Okay. The other thing too, I will say that on the pulse side, and then I'll switch to 2025. But on the pulse side, again, I like being a yellow pea seller for old crop right now. The 24 crop, I like moving that one out. Chuck certainly gave me more confidence in that. But if you're selling lentils or peas, yellow peas, green peas, maple peas, there's room here to make some sales. Okay, and maybe the green pea grower and the green lentil grower holds a bit back, or maples you hold a bit back for further upside. But I would still be making incremental sales here if it were me. I would be getting something else done at this time. And then my last thing here is I just if I could wave my tentacles around, a flag around, or warning sign, a red light flashing, don't forget about the fall of 2025. Okay. I know you got a lot on your plate right now. You've been busy in the field doing dirt work now that harvest is wrapped up, and it's going to get colder here eventually. But the fall of 25, we're being shown wheat values of north of $8 in Saskatchewan for a number 113.5 protein. Alberta be not quite 9, but getting close. Don't forget about that. And canola, can you make money on $14 canola next year? That, just don't, if you get a chance here as it gets colder, brush off that marketing plan for next fall of 2025. See what it looks like. And don't forget about that one. You can start building a really healthy, profitable plan here for your farm for next year. That's it for eating your veggies. I was going to talk about canola, but I've shown my cards already in the episode. And if I want to clarify this a little bit more, our farm would be sitting here north of 80% sold. I always want to be cautious around this because we get enough farms telling other farms what to do. So I'm not coming at it from that angle. I'm coming at it from how do you want to handle marketing your canola crop over the next 2, 4, 6 months. And for me, I would rather be fumbling on how to capture the upside, fumbling that around, maybe making a little mistake here or there, trying to capture the rest of the upside, knowing that my downside is protected. My downside is it can't get any worse, right? And I'm comfortable with that. I don't know what your comfort level is, but with farms I work with, personally, we made a plan that fits the farm. Lunchbox Group, we've been making sales here incrementally. We still have stuff to sell. My farm still has a little bit of stuff to sell as well. I'm not 100% committed. I'm getting there, but not quite. But how do you want to handle this? And it's important for you to sort that out in your own crop marketing plan here. And we're going to be hanging out in Drumheller together when StatsCan prints that report. So we'll see what all happens between now and then. All right, that's it for eating your veggies. Closing here. If you found the episode useful, please share it with a friend, neighbor, colleague in your local ag community. I really appreciate you getting the word out there. And I know you are, because numbers, listens continue to climb. Prices may change by the time we record and send this out. Most of the recording is done on a Wednesday, and things happen. Things change. Everything we talked about is, for discussion. There's no guarantees of profitability or that they're good decisions. At the end of the day, we're trying our best here, but you have to make it your own. If you want to be a guest on the show, reach out to me. Head over to the website, ryandenny.ca. And if you want to be a sponsor, connect. That's where you go as well. Have a good positive Friday, folks. Have a good weekend. I'm out. Octopus is out.